A fire ravages through an empty lot in Chicago. When the fire is put out, they find a body. Hello, true crimeers. This is the case of Oscar Velezquez. Viewer discretion is advised. It was the night of June 6, 2000. Police in Chicago are informed about a fire in an empty lot. Once the fire was finally put out, they found a body. It was the body of a man wrapped in a white sheet and also wrapped up in a tarp. Eventually, the remains would be identified as this man here, a 22-year-old trucker from Dallas, Texas, Oscar Velezquez. He had been shot through the back of his head. A few miles away, they would find another fire, and this time it was a car. The fire had been deliberately set, it was arson, and the car belonged to Oscar Velezquez. Oscar had been dating this woman here. Her name was Regina DeFrancisco, and she took advantage of Oscar's kindness. Oscar was, by all accounts, a really stand-up guy. He was honest, he was hardworking, he would do anything for anyone to help them. Never got into any kind of trouble. He was just a really, really good dude. And he liked Regina a lot. He thought she liked him as well. Turns out, Regina actually had a boyfriend. She just never told Oscar that. The boyfriend was in jail. In May of 2000, Margaret DeFrancisco, who was Regina's sister, reaches out to Oscar and says, "Hey, I need money to bail Regina out of jail. It's $1,000. Oscar, being the generous person he is, gave $1,000 to Margaret. Little did he know he was actually bailing out Regina's boyfriend. Regina wasn't in jail. They promised to pay Oscar back. On June 6, 2000, they lured Oscar to their home under the promise of going on a date with Regina, because again, he still had no idea she had a boyfriend. Margaret answers the door. She says Regina's downstairs in the basement. He walks down the stairs. Margaret follows closely behind him. She then lifts a gun to the back of his head, pulls the trigger, and shoots him once. He falls to the ground in the basement, and he is dead. They then robbed him of $600 in cash and whatever jewelry he had on. They then put him in the trunk of a vehicle, found a vacant lot in Chicago, doused him with, I believe it was nail polish remover, and lit him on fire. They then disposed of his car a few miles down the road. Now, police know all this because there was a third person there, a friend of the sisters, who told police everything. Regina and Margaret were now on the run. In March of 2002, Margaret DeFrancisco was found, located in Roscoe, Illinois. 7 months later, Regina DeFrancisco was found in Dallas, Texas. Both women were then arrested and charged with the murder of Oscar Velezquez. They said it was self-defense. However, the friend that was there said no, it wasn't. Regina was sentenced to 35 years in prison. Margaret got 46 years in prison. They took advantage of a kind person's generous heart. And ultimately, when he asked for that $1,000 back, they killed him. May they both rot.